The Independent Expert Review Group is a crazy experiment, an experiment in independent accountability. It emerges from the human rights community and it's part of the great Every Woman, Every Child initiative of the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. And our goal is to try and hold partners, donors, countries, everybody accountable for their promises and commitments to improve the lives of women and children. We are in our first year. We're very hopeful and very optimistic that we can be catalytic and accelerate progress for women and children worldwide, and we're doing the best to work with as many people as possible to achieve that goal.
The main thing about it is that it's independent and it has the potential to actually make a difference and fight for women's and children's health.
People saying, what is United Nations about? It's not about results. It's moving people from one place to another. It's writing reports that get lost in cupboards. So for me, it is important to, through iERG, have a chance to prove that United Nations can do better than what the general image, at least amongst parliamentarians, is about. And then secondly, of course, looking at the effects of all the work that is done to really, on the ground, better the situation of healthcare for women and children.
If you can look after the health of women and children, you really look after the health of 75% of the population. And so just by doing that, you reduce the disease burden and the suffering from our whole population.
Every woman, every child counts, and their lives is important. And the iERG is an opportunity to hold governments and other partners accountable for the commitments they make.
There is the challenge of the global networking, the global frameworks. And there is, of course, what happens on the ground, the country level. First, there is the challenge to match these two.
There should be country level launching of the report and discussions at the country level so that people know what the issues are. And the countries which are not doing so well can know which ones are doing very well, and they can go and learn from them. So I think we've started well at the global level. At the country level, we need to strengthen our activities because it is at the country level that action will matter.
It's also very important to see how you can, in your work, have the broad vision of all the connected subjects that are of influence on the position, the health situation of women and children. We have been talking about the importance of human rights, of course, but also how to bring in education, how to bring in the environmental discussions.
To try and bring partners together, to think very carefully about what results they're achieving and whether the resources that they're promising are really making a difference in countries. So it's a convening role as well as an accountability role. I think in countries, our role is to celebrate success because there's incredible innovations, incredible successes in many countries, but also to point out where some of the bottlenecks and obstacles and barriers are, and to try and help to identify solutions to those, bring partners together to work better to solve those problems, and also sometimes to really name and shame and say, well, things are not going as well as they should and you need to take responsibility.
iERG plays a small but important role because it's catalytic, it calls attention to where we are. Are we making progress? Are we falling behind?
We are here to represent people, to represent women and children, to be their voices to the global community and to country governments.
The global community has tried all sorts of things for many years, and I think the idea of being made accountable for what's going on is essential and may be a chance to actually achieve something.
The issue of global investment in the health of women and children has come out very clearly, and also the issue of how to use the electronic means, e-mobile and e-health. So now we need to take this information to make sure that this information gets to the country level where the action has to take place.
One is the health of adolescents, especially the reproductive health of young women. This is a very neglected area and a very important one, and we will shed light on this. The other is the importance of national mechanisms for accountability, strengthening civil society to hold their governments accountable, and for them to be able to use human rights instruments to check on the progress made for every woman, every child at country level.
2013, I would like to see some of our big ideas that we tried to get into this report implemented. Can we have better coordination between some of the fantastic global initiatives that are taking place? Can we have an investment framework to try and coordinate resources for women and children's health? Can we apply human rights tools more effectively to defend and protect and advance the health of women and children? But I've got to say, we're also having an eye on the post-2015 agenda. How do we make sure that women and children have a spotlight, a priority focus after the MDG era ends in 2015? That's got to be in our sights.
I think that the reports that we are going to write the next year, starting by 2013, but also 2014 and 15, that we start working on making sure that our topic cannot be put off the agenda. So our report and the reports to come should give the proof, should give the arguments that after 2015 we cannot forget on the health of women and children.
I don't know actually what to expect, but I know what I hope for. I hope that there will be a response and that we can make people aware of their responsibilities, those who actually have the power to make an impact, to have an impact. And if we can do that, then we have achieved something. But we have, in the end, it has to be about each individual woman and each individual child, that there is a real difference. Otherwise, we just produce more reports, more discussions, more political exhibitions, really, without an impact. That's not what this group is for. That's not how I understand it, and I don't think my colleagues understand it any different.